Have you ever been engaged with a woman, things seem to be going well, and then out of nowhere she just starts straight ignoring you? Maybe you're on a date and she abruptly pulls out her phone to scroll social media. Or perhaps you're chatting online and she randomly ghosts you for hours or days on end. If you've encountered this extremely disrespectful ghosting behavior before, you're not alone. The sad reality is the majority of modern men have become such fumbling simps that many entitled ladies see no issue with shamelessly brushing off their existence like they're invisible. But here's something these rude women fail to understand. When they pull this negligent act on a truly high-value man who respects himself, they unwittingly activate a domino effect that turns their ignored gesture into the ultimate form of self-sabotage. You see, a high-value man's most powerful asset isn't his looks, money, or pickup artistry. It's his unwavering self-assured mindset that he's the prize to be relentlessly competed for. So when an audacious woman crosses that line of disrespect by dismissing his humanity, it triggers an unshakable boundary enforcement protocol. And trust me, the way an elite man handles being ignored is vastly different from how the average insecure sap responds. Your everyday approval-addicted guy gets flustered and resorts to overcompensating theatrics and pleading for her focus like a bratty toddler. But when a high-value alpha gets disrespected in this way, his comeback strikes the perfect intersection of zero craps given aloofness mixed with classically charming assholery. He dishes out the razor-sharp reality check she richly deserves, while elevating his own SMV mystique in the process. In this video, I'll walk through 8 power move techniques truly high-status men deploy to deftly turn the tables on intentional ignoring. Integrate these into your mating playbook, and you'll become the silent sniper of female behavior correction, quashing her dismissive antics while inflating your archetype as the elusive, unattainable prize. Let's begin. Technique 1. Completely mirror her disrespect. When a woman overtly ignores you out of nowhere, chances are she's betting you'll grovel for her re-engagement to satiate her ego's thirst for validation. The worst possible reaction is to assume the cringe position she's scripted in her mind by actually tuning into her for approval. The highest value rebuttal is to instantly reflect her disrespect right back in her face with a disqualified disengagement of your own. If she dips into a phone trance mid-conversation, you silently pull out your phone as well and start scrolling without another word. If she turns to chat up other people nearby, calmly pivot your body language away and find something else to occupy yourself with too. Essentially, you're communicating, "Two can spar this disrespect game, missy, and my dignity and time is too valuable to chase down yours." After holding this defiant mirror for a few minutes, she'll be forced to initiate re-engagement on your bulletproof terms, which you enforce by continuing to match her dismissiveness tit for tat. Technique 2. Deploy an amused recede. Another powerful maneuver is to overwhelm her juvenile attempts at ignoring by receding her attraction through controlled, dominant amusement. When she first pulls the silent treatment card, don't get outwardly ruffled. Instead, look her square in the eyes wearing a calm smirk while shaking your head, chuckling to yourself. Then unapologetically say something like, "Wow, so when you mentioned coming from a family of misbehaved brats growing up, you really weren't kidding around." Hold that convicted pause while studying her reaction through steadied body language to see if the amusing frame control attempt lands. If she continues tuning out, keep dropping similar charismatic admonishments to tease out her captivated engagement. Don't worry, it's actually refreshing to have our roles reversed for once, where you're the rude one, disrespecting basic etiquette, or I forgot hi. You must be the delusional headcase who thinks being a terrible person is an appealing look. When delivered faultlessly composed with dry, quick-witted moxie, these aloofness T-jabs inflict a dominance-restoring punishment wrapped in cheeky bravado she paradoxically can't resist. Act 2 butthurt, however, and you signal her antics have already scored high-value headspace. Technique 3. Implement controlled silences. For guys who short-circuit in the face of uncomfortable silences, an ignoring female's checked-out trance often triggers desperate, sputtering rebounds to regain her slipping focus. This flustering void fear is precisely the validation-rooted manipulation she's banking on. To undermine this agenda entirely, an elite man welcomes long, drawn-out silences with gratifying stoicism and composure. When she first dips from conversation, hold your last words dangling without scrambling to resuscitate the interaction. Then indulge in a dissected lack of response ranging from 15 to 60 stillness-soaked seconds where you simply go mental poker face. Sport an intentionally unbothered expression, acting as if you're patiently waiting for her to rejoin the stimulating discussion she materialized in on before scampering off. By becoming a silent salving of this underutilized art of powerful control, you'll immediately bifurcate. This isn't the insecure conversational facilitator. She's accustomed to pandering for her ephemeral attentions. You've effectively level jumped into an oppositional guardian. She must now match with earned poise and presence, rather than expecting to be chased for re-engagement. Technique 4. Change venues unpromptedly. In spontaneous scenarios where a dismissive female's ghosting rises to flamboyant heights, the superlative play is an outright change of venue that removes your participation from her limerence. For example, let's say you're out to dinner, and after feeling steadily ignored and dishonored over the course of your date, you discreetly request the check from your server and pay outstanding in full without acknowledgement. You then gather your belongings and stand up from your seated position without saying a single word. If she's savvy enough to contextualize what's transpiring, she'll feign confusion asking, where are you going? To which you can reply with a throwaway dismissal like, well, seeing as you seem entirely preoccupied with clawing at whatever psychosis is eating you alive tonight, I figured we'd both have better uses for our evenings elsewhere. From here, you exit first and extend her the freedom to go running in mortified pursuit to requalify herself, or wallow behind in the consequences of her poor choices. Either way, you've upheld your self-respect by removing ire presence from an environment her disrespect made her undeserving of inhabiting. Technique 5. Use witnessed assumption framing. This next technique involves setting a frame implying her dismissive shenanigans are long evidenced symptoms of much deeper self-nullifying pathologies baked into her wiring, as consistently witnessed by those closest to her. For example, you could say with a deadpan delivery, yes, it's like your friends mentioned. These are the same hot and cold wavering games you constantly play to artificially impart control over men, since you're plagued by desperate validation cravings for external perceiving. By encapsulating her tacky behavior as a script being judged from her closest colleagues' perspectives, it instills the panic that you've already studied and prejudged her insecurities to a resounding degree. Even if such assessments are entirely fabricated projections on your part, having her own psychology mirrored back ominously kicks her self-consciousness into engagement preservation overdrive. Before she knows it, she's course-correcting under the belief her subverting character flaws have already been outed for documented observance. Technique 6. Use insecurity disqualifying validation. One deliciously sadistic approach is to go meta by validating a woman's likely unflattering insecurities that are catalyzing her dismissive antics, wrapped in faux gratitude for the confirmation of your preconceived notions. For instance, if you theorize her ignoring stems from feeling intimidated or overawed by your conspicuous higher value persona, you can overtly call that out. Thanks for reassuring me that feeling anxious around men with real ambition is indeed still an insecurity you're plagued by. If it seems her ghosting substantiates your suspicions that pretty young females get habitually overpraised despite atrocious conduct from an early age, own that narrative. I appreciate you living up to my assumptions about your breathtaking looks, enabling extremely rude behavior that most would never get away with. The trick here is to deliver these barbed validations completely straight-face without betraying an ounce of intrinsic rattling. That way, you position her misbehavior as yet another data point substantiating your pre-existing negative impressions about her deteriorating valor self-worth rather than new information actively unsettling your reality. Technique 7. Use mock self-dismissiveness. Sometimes the ultimate psychological jujitsu is pretending you're the one who's decided she's unworthy of your attentions and incredible personage. This subverts her power play by symbolically rejecting her long before her actual rejection of you can land or make an impact. When she first lapses into overdrawn ignoring, you can feign an exaggerated huff of annoyance before joking with an incredulous tone, well, I must have missed the part where spending time with you idiots became a riveting activity on my bucket list. You can couple this mock self-dismissal with a pantomimed reaching for your coat or standing up from your seat as if to walk away before catching yourself and slinking back into your chair shaking your head. Essentially, you're symbolically firing her from your presence as if her dismissiveness was the final rationalization for promptly writing her insignificance off. Another flourish is to start openly pondering and listing off all the infinitely more enriching ways you could be spending your time if she's set on being an ill-mannered detractor. You know, I could be reading philosophy at the park, practicing my kickboxing. Even watching C-SPAN would be more productive than wasting magical minutes on whatever sad charade you seem insistent on performing. These exaggerated frames are delivered in a cheeky, tongue-in-cheek manner, but the conditioning impact of you symbolically leaving first before she can ratify her own dismissal sends shockwaves that shatter her petty little fictions of control. Technique 8. Use envy deprivation receding. Thanks to the psychological imprint of earliest childhood, women are wired by their primal reproductive software to feel irresistibly drawn towards any stimuli that other females visibly crave. This makes strategic envy triggers one of the most devastatingly effective receding techniques. When a woman first drift out, go ignoring you, smoothly shift your attention onto your mobile device, where you can pull up an alluring photo from your camera roll of a different attractive female prospect you've connected with before. Referring to that visual stimulant while loudly verbalizing, "You know, at least Christina understood how to conduct herself like an interesting, engaging, mature young woman when we went dancing the other night." Then you can scroll through more photos while adding abundant texture. It's crazy she's not only gorgeous, but was respectful, present, and just an overall joy to be around for hours on end without any mind games or temper tantrums. Even if these illustrations are completely fabricated, the envy triggers being implanted through tangible visuals and descriptive reframing creates the primal psychological panic that you have better romantic options readily available who offer the feminine poise and admiration she insecurely feels inadequate providing herself. Her hindbrain knows she needs to shift into a reciprocal appreciation and engagement with you again to prevent a potential mate being poached away by worthier competition. Ironically, first initiated through her own disrespect to begin with. Now, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.